Hello everyone and welcome to the free and live Learn the Basics of Joomla 3 webinar brought to you by CloudAccess.net. This webinar is intended for beginning Joomla users who've just launched their first Joomla site and you're ready to learn and get started. Today I'm going to show you how to launch a free Joomla site, a free Joomla 3 site from the CloudAccess.net platform. The site is hosted for free indefinitely as long as you stay active with the website, with developing. And I'll show you how to launch it, of course, and then we'll talk a little bit about sample data that comes with the site that you've launched and how to access the site through the Cloud Control Panel. Then we're going to talk about templates and changing templates within Joomla and what a template is and where to find additional templates. We'll then move into developing the actual content of our site. We'll talk about creating categories, articles, menu items, and modules. And we'll also show you how to install extensions, how to reach outside of Joomla and grab a third-party extension and plug it into the site to increase our functionality. I'll show you a little bit of the Joomla user manager, and we'll talk about access control lists. We'll add a user to the site and show you some additional functionality through Joomla forms, creating a form for the site, a contact form or a registration form. And there are a number of other things we can talk about too, depending on what you want to know. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ryan Bernstein. I'm going to be your host and presenter today. I want to encourage all of you to find that GoToMeeting slide out question area and post a question. If something occurs to you in the moment, I'd be happy to pause and answer that question, or if somehow I miss it, we can come back to that question towards the end of today's presentation. So before we begin, I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to our platform, and then we'll launch the site. In just a moment, we'll log into the CCP, which is the Cloud Control Panel. This is a one-of-a-kind control panel that we've developed from the ground up to help you manage your applications and all of your applications. You can do a number of things within the CCP. You can create a snapshot or a backup of the site and restore from a backup. You can replicate to a staging area if you want to do some testing. You can also submit support tickets in the CCP. It's your avenue for communication with us, submitting tickets and getting some help. And quite a lot can be done in the CCP, of course. Manage your account and pay invoices and things like that if you do upgrade to one of our hosting and support packages. And today we're going to be talking about Joomla, but we do also offer WordPress hosting, and we have a variety of hosting packages to suit your needs. If the free hosting package, it does have plenty of space for development, but if you need additional space, resources for the site, or if you need additional help from our team, you can purchase a hosting and support plan. We also offer insane support. As I mentioned, you can submit support tickets or call us directly. Pick up the phone and call our team to get help. And it's not just hosting help, it's help with core Joomla and WordPress features. Again, this support is not available for our free hosting packages, but you can upgrade at any point. We do have a lot of free training resources, including this webinar, but we've got a lot of video tutorials. There is a 16-part video tutorial series that kind of breaks down everything that we discussed during the webinar, and you can kind of pause and stop and rewind to learn at your own pace. But you're, of course, welcome to browse through our knowledge base full of hundreds of documents and videos to learn on your own. In our platform, too, we also take snapshots of your site. We create a backup of your work every day. And we give you the tools to do this as well, but we create a backup. And if you break the site somehow, we can restore it for you, and we do that at no additional charge. We also have domain names. Of course, you can purchase a domain name through us, and actually we have a cool offer right now through the end of this year, which is 2014. Of course, I say that just because I'm recording this webinar, and it will be available on our YouTube channel later today, but the domain offer we have currently is a free .org domain, and that's going to, actually it's going to be active tomorrow, and it will be available through the end of 2014, a free .org domain. And we do have a worldwide network with nodes on servers around the world, and any site hosted with us performs noticeably fast. And again, I already mentioned it, but we do have a pretty popular YouTube channel. I am recording this presentation. I am going to move quickly. So again, if you have a question, raise that hand and I can bring you live into the webinar. We'll do that at the end of the webinar. Or type that question in. I'd be happy to kind of sort of rewind and go a little bit slower if you need to, but a recording will be available. And again, the video tutorial series at our YouTube channel is pretty comprehensive and covers just about everything we're going to cover today. Let me go ahead and close this presentation. And to get started, I'm going to go to our site. We're going to go to CloudAccess.net. And if you haven't done so yet, you'll want to register for a free account here. We'll ask some basic information, but no payment method needed, nothing like that. We'll go ahead and log in to the CCP. Of course, I've already registered, so let's go ahead and log in. And if you're new to our platform, you're going to, this is the Cloud Control Panel, the CCP, the place where I manage all of my applications, and this is the place where I communicate, of course, with the CloudAccess.net team to get help. I can do a lot here. I can launch new products and purchase all different types of domains or SSL certificates, whatever you might need. We have it here. And you can also manage each application. When you first log in, you're not going to see a view like this. You'll see an option to launch which product you want to launch first. It looks a slight bit different from this, but I've already launched several sites, of course, so I see how many active hosting products I've gotten here. I see how many tickets I've opened. No tickets open for me right now. I have 2 invoices due. I have 2 registered domain names. Each of my active hosting products is listed here under the hosting tab. A lot of these, of course, are associated with the webinar, but we have the art gallery site here, for instance, which is the site we're going to be developing today, a site for an art gallery. We see that it's a Joomla 3.3 site, and these are quick links to help me manage the individual application, or I can click on the Manage button here to get a sort of expanded view of the quick links. We'll show you that in a little bit. Again, here's like a WordPress 3.9 site, and I see all my options here for managing the application. I can click over here to see my free sites. These will remain active unless I want to upgrade to a hosting and support package. Again, the same options available for those. I do have domains, and CloudMail too is an integrated email service that we can apply to your domain. So if you want a customized email address at your domain, for instance, robert@mysite.com, we can help you integrate that email. We want to click on New Product, though. So I'm going to click on that New Product to launch the new site. And this is really the view you're going to see the first time you launch an application, or first time you log into your Cloud Control Panel. So I want to click on the Launch Free site. Click on this. And I am going to go with Joomla 3.3, which is the most recent version of Joomla. And I want to type in my domain here. Now, the subdomain I get is freesite.host, and I create the beginning part of this domain. So I'm going to type in Art Gallery. And so my domain name will be artgallery.freesite.host. And this, again, is a free subdomain. Will stay active for the lifetime of your free hosting account. As long as you stay active and you log into the CCP every 30 days, this site will also stay active. You do have the opportunity to launch a Joomla 3.2 feature or a site. We've kept this one around. People seem to prefer 3.2. Some people prefer it over 3.3. And we also have older versions of Joomla, which is 2.5. Now, Joomla 2.5 is still supported, and it's still okay to launch it, but it's actually going to meet its end of life at the end of life cycle in December of this year. So definitely best to launch that 3 site. Even if it's a 3.2 site, it's going to be a one-click update between the Joomla 3 versions. It's not so easy if you go with the 2.5 site at this point. Of course, we also have the WordPress 4.0 option if you like, but we're going to select Joomla 3.3 and we'll create the site, and we'll validate that the domain is available. We're going to provision the site for you. What happens is our automated system reaches into our repository and launches the site. It includes some sample data and some templates for us to work with within the site already. And once this is ready, we're going to be redirected to our Cloud Control Panel, where we can manage this individual application. So it really doesn't take very long at all, usually less than a minute, to launch the site. And again, we're going to create a site today for an art gallery, and I've done a little bit of work kind of planning out what types of content and articles I'd like in the site. A little bit I've been thinking about organization for the site, and we're going to do quite a bit. with it. And just another moment here, I'm also going to receive a welcome email from CloudAccess.net. And the welcome email contains links to the front end of the site and links to the administration area or the control panel, or we refer to it as the back end. And so the email also contains my username and password, of course, for the site, and it looks like we are ready. So here is the page we're directed to. This is where I manage my artgallery.freesite.host, and if I click on this link here, this is going to take me to the front end of the site. And this is what my Joomla site looks like right now. You see I've got a site title, I've got a menu with one menu item, I've got some modules. This is a custom HTML module. We have tags module, latest articles, my login form. We've got one article here in the site, and this is a module at the bottom, actually, a breadcrumbs module. And then we have our copyright and back to top links at the bottom. And this is all great stuff. I am actually going to show you how to delete all this today, though, and replace it with your own content, of course. And it is important to note that we're using the Protostar template. The Protostar template is the default core template that comes with Joomla 3, and it's a responsive template. Let's kind of illustrate what that means. Let's minimize our page here. And just notice how my content is shrinking. The site title, not so much, but we're going to replace that anyway. My menu shrinks, my images shrink, and everything looks pretty good. So if we're looking at this on like a smartphone, for instance, here's like an iPhone, we can see we see our content looks pretty good. In fact, I just edited a Joomla site this morning from my smartphone, and yeah, that's a responsive template, and that's really the name of the game anymore, is making sure that your content looks good on all different types of devices. We can also minimize this so it's the size of a tablet, and same thing, right? Content still looks really, really good. All right, and not only is the front end responsive, but the back end is responsive as well. Let's show you how to access the back end of that 3.3 site. If you're in the Cloud Control panel, come to Application, and then click on the Login to Joomla button or option. This is a one-click login link to the back end of your site. And so this is the place where I can manage and maintain. I create all of my content. I create all of my, I add all of my media. I get my articles in order. I get all the modules I'd like in different positions. I create my user groups. I can do a lot here. All those options are available in this toolbar off to the left side. So I have my content options, I've got my structure options, users, of course, configurations, templates, and languages. I can install extensions, and then I can look for updates for my Joomla site as well. And you see here I get this message that the Joomla 3.3.6 is available. And what happens if I scroll down here, it's actually really small at the bottom of this page. I'm on 3.3.4, and we do keep a really recent version in our platform ready for you to launch. What happens is we get these short-term releases, these updates, and these updates for the sites, we don't always apply those updates on our platform immediately. We like to test, and we like to make sure that everything is great. Everything is working really, really well, and so we don't apply those patches immediately for the short-term releases. And the reason why we're on 3.3.4 and Joomla's on 3.3.6 is because there was actually an issue with 3.3.5, a security vulnerability that was found, and we didn't, of course, apply that update right away, and we're still waiting to get an all clear that this is resolved in the 3.3.6. So I'm going to ignore this update message. These will appear from time to time, and we do offer a managed hosting platform where we'll update the site for you once that security patch becomes available. We also get this blue message letting us know we have post-installation messages. I'm going to go ahead and click on the review messages here, and the two messages I get is one for two-factor authentication, which is a really cool option from Google using the Google Authenticator, which gives us an additional level of security for the site. It basically gives us a PIN number that refreshes every 30 seconds in order to log in. We're going to just hide this message right now, but it's a cool feature and definitely worthwhile exploring, but kind of a little bit beyond the basics of what we're going to cover today. We also get some great links here for the Joomla Beginner's Guide and the Joomla Forum. These are all resources I'm going to show you a little bit later, so I'm going to hide this message too. A lot of that content we're going to cover in our webinar today too. So here we have no messages. To return to my control panel, I'm going to go to System and Control Panel to take me back to this main view here. And we will see this red message pop up continually throughout the day, so we'll just leave that there. And you can customize the way this is a little bit. You have these modules here. Basically, when you open up a new area within Joomla, our main contextual area will change here, and we'll be able to update different types of content. Now, you can customize these modules if you like to. It's not as easy as in WordPress where you can just kind of drag and drop, but still it is possible. I do want to show you though that if you, in the upper right hand corner, if you want to log out of the site you can, but you can also access the front end of the site by clicking on this link here. This is our site title right now, so we click on that. That'll take us to the front end. If we're on the front end, we want to see the back end, you can type in a /administrator. That will take you to the back end of the site. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, you can click on the log out button to log out of the Joomla site completely. And then here you get a username and password, a way to manually log into the site. Now at CloudAccess.net we do give you those. So under Application, come to Overview. You can, oops, looks like I was logged out. Inactive for too long. Very strange. I was logged out of my site, or I was logged out of my my CCP, and my password changed. Not cool. Interesting. You know what? I should be able to actually check my email. I can check my email. I've got my email open on a separate monitor here, and I can copy my username and my password. Again, I did get that welcome email that contains links and all that information for my site. So I'm going to copy my username and my password from my second monitor and paste those in, so I can get back into the site. So there is a way to log in manually if you'd like to. I wonder what's happening here, though. Very strange. And it's also important to note that you do have the password request password reset option here. I am going to click on this and just enter my email quickly here and submit, and I'll get an email. I can reset that a little bit later, but let's go ahead and start and talk a little bit more about our site. Again, once you make your changes in the back end and you save your work, those changes immediately show up on the front end, and it is pretty easy to toggle back and forth between the two views. Now let's talk a little bit about the template. Templates for Joomla, they control the visual look and layout of the site. They tie together elements like modules and articles and menus, and they help you really communicate with your audience. Every template is different, and templates are even built on different frameworks. There are different grid systems for how many columns and the width of things, and a lot of different options for templates. If you go to the internet, you go to CloudAccess.net. You can scroll all the way to the bottom of our site. Scroll all the way to the bottom. We've got this Community Resources menu here. Click on Joomla Templates. This is going to take you to a approved list of third-party template developers. We have a couple pieces of information up here about how to install templates or what a template is, but we also have a list of all of these developers, and we approve these companies. They have great templates, of course, but they also provide at least a decent, if not great, amount of support for their work. And we know they're reputable, and we can stand by them and promote them as being good developers. And I'm going to show you Rocket Themes, for instance. Let's go to Rocket Themes site. They develop templates for Joomla and WordPress and Magento and a couple other CMSs, but let's go to their Joomla templates. And what's really cool about Rocket Theme is they actually come out with a new Joomla template every month. So Chimera here is the October template. Let's go ahead and demo this one. And when you purchase a template, you want to look for things like the color presets. You want to make sure that there's some options here for customizing, because if you like the way a template looks but you don't necessarily like the color of the menu item, sometimes those are a bit difficult to change, and it could take some coding. So you want to make sure you've got a lot of options here. And you see here we have an image rotator at the top of the page where you can sort of overlay some text, which is a really nice feature. And this image rotator is going to come with this template. Scrolling down here, looks like we've got some animation going on, which is cool. Scrolling down a bit more. Lots of moving parts and pieces here. This is like a carousel, which is cool and would come with the template as well. And yeah, another sort of slide set here, or it could be an image rotator as well. Lots of great content, or lots of great functionality in this template. I really like all the moving parts, and people really like that sometimes, and it really depends on the template you buy if you can get features like that included with the template. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, and you know, if it's not available in the template, you'll have to install a third-party resource. So there's a lot of things to consider when buying a template, not just the extensions, but how many options you have for customization in the back end, and yeah, all sorts of things, and support, how much support you can get from the developer. Now we're going to return to the front end of our site. We're using the Protostar, as I mentioned, and if I go to CloudAccess.net, I can actually come to Training and go to Tutorials and Knowledge Base. We have a pretty comprehensive knowledge base here with hundreds of documents on how to develop. We're going to go to the Joomla category. We'll select Joomla 3, and we'll scroll down all the way to the Protostar Responsive Template category. Now, I've got several documents here on how to use the Protostar template, but we want to open up the module map. And this is really important. If you're considering any template online, make sure you can find the module map. And this displays all the positions I have available for content with this individual theme, with this individual template. So I can add a logo into the logo position. I've got position 1 for my menu. I've got a nice big banner position and a smaller position 3. I can have sidebars, and my main content will always stay in this one static area with this template. So I'm going to keep this window open, and let's return to the back end. Let's go ahead and go to Extensions and Template Manager to open up our templates, or we can come over here to where are we? Right here under Configuration, Template Manager. What you'll see is we have 4 templates installed in the site already. We have Bees 3 and Hathor, ISIS, and Protostar, and these 2 stars indicate what template is our default template. Notice how some templates are for the site, which is the front end, and some templates are for the administrator. If we want to change our administrative template from ISIS to Hathor, we'll just click on the star here, and we'll notice that we get it all different look and feel for the back end. Hathor was developed to have elements stand out a little bit differently, and I've grown accustomed to ISIS, so I'll find the default column again and change it back. And I want you to notice too how we get the green message up at the top of the page in this template. You'll see the green message often. When you get the green message, it means you've done something successfully. You've saved your work. You may also see a red message, which means you've done something unsuccessfully or there's some type of error. And you may also see a yellow message, which is a cautionary message. If we want to change the front end template, again, click on the default here. We'll see our green message again. Let's return to the front end now and refresh the page. and we now have the Bees 3 template. Bees 3, it's a little bit more cumbersome. It's not easy to use, and if we want to get rid of this banner, for instance, we're going to have to get into the code of the template, the actual CSS, and that's difficult, and we don't really want to do that. So we are going to keep things easy today by using the protostar. So let's select it. Let's return to the front end, refresh, and we're back to normal. Let's open up the protostar. Let's add a logo. And we're going to replace our site title here by adding a logo. Let's go ahead and open up protostar. We'll go to the Advanced tab. And you see we have template, color, template, or background color. We'll get to those in a minute, but let's go ahead and upload a logo. If I click on the Select button, we're redirected here to sort of an abbreviated view of our Media Manager, where you see there are several images. We have these Joomla images in the site. We've got all the sample image. These folders are actually full of images, and I do suggest you get in here and delete these if you don't need them, which you probably won't, because they are taking up space on your server, and you know that space is valuable. So let's go ahead and actually scroll down and choose a file from our computer. I'm going to go to my documents, go to my webinar images, go to the art gallery folder. I've done some work assembling imagery for my site already. I've got a nice logo here, so I'll select it, start my upload. And so I've basically just uploaded that to my Media Manager. I can then, I still need my image URL to the path to the image to appear down here, so I just click on it. You see the path appear, and I'm set to insert. Let's go ahead and save here, and there is no live preview of the template in the back end, and you know WordPress has that live preview, and you know I do invite you back to our webinar on Wednesday if you want to learn a little bit more about the WordPress template and what's possible there. But let's return to our home page, refresh the page, and you notice our title. Our title is now in place, which is really cool. Let's go to the back end of the site as well. Let's go ahead and change our template color. I'm going to change this to like purple, I think. This will change background, or this will change headings, links, buttons, and things like that. Let's go ahead and save that purple and then return to the front end, refresh. And notice how it's my buttons, my links, they're all purple. Now I also want to change my background color. I'm going to change this to black, kind of match my logo, and save. Let's return and refresh. And it's everything in the background, of course. Now you can fill up the entirety of the monitor if you'd like to. So right now, all the way at the bottom, notice how we're on fluid layout. We're on static, which is not filling the space. But let's go ahead and change to fluid and refresh, and notice how our content now expands and fills the entirety of the browser. Okay, I do like the static layout. I like that white container for some reason, so I'm going to change it back and select Save and Close. Actually, let's open that back up, protostar. Click on that again, and remember, go to the Advanced tab. These are all the options you have available for this template. That's not a lot. It really isn't a lot. It's a nice template to learn from, but you probably will eventually go find something that's a little bit more functional. I do want to let you know that later this month, in just about a week, we have a free template coming out for Joomla 3 at CloudAccess.net. It's called the Cloud-Based 3.0. We've had this template in the past for older versions of Joomla, and we finally decided to go ahead and recreate it for Joomla 3. It's got just a ton of features. I do suggest you come back, check for that in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a fun template to use, and it's free. So let's go ahead and save and close protostar now, and let's refresh the front end and get our white container back. You can remove the white container, but all of that takes coding, again, because all of our options here, there just weren't a whole lot of options within the site. All right. Let's talk about these modules next. Again, modules, this is our main content, our article. This is not in a module, but I want to show you how to get rid of these modules in the site so we can replace them a little bit later. And we'll return to the back end. Remember, go to System and Control Panel if you want to get back to that main administration area. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go to our Module Manager right here, or you can go to Extensions and Module Manager, same place. Just a number of ways to access the same area within Joomla. Notice how we have 8 modules in the site already, and they're assigned to a position, and they have their different types. We have a search module, a menu module, all sorts of different things, and then we have our they're assigned to different pages within the site. What I'm going to do right now is select all of them. I'm going to throw them in the trash. They're actually not permanently gone from our site. We get the green message and the yellow message letting us know we don't have any modules to search from right now. But if we return to the front end, let's refresh the page. All of that content is now gone. Our logo stays. Even though this is a module, we added this through the template. So it actually didn't appear in our module manager. This is the only one exception to that rule. But we also deleted our menu. I kind of want my menu back, but I do want everything else to be gone. I can use the filter over here off to the side to select my trashed modules, and I want my main menu back. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and publish it again, but I'm going to leave everything else here. In fact, I'm going to select everything else and just empty my trash completely. Now all of those trashed modules are gone. Let's go back and look at all of our modules. My main menu is still in place. Let's return to the front end and refresh the page. I get my main menu back. Now, I don't want to raise any red flags. We can recreate all of those modules, and several of them we will recreate today, and you do that by clicking on the New button. And there are many module types to pick from, and they're all core features. Okay? If it's not available here, you will have to install an extension, and we're going to come back. We're going to create a few of those modules in the future. But moving right along, our modules are gone. Again, we will create more in just a minute, but let's talk about content for the site. How do we replace this Getting Started article and replace it with our own content? Well, let's create some content first so I can illustrate how to do that. And I do want you to write this down. These are important steps for creating content within Joomla. First, you'll have to create a category, and then into categories you'll save any articles that you write. And then you'll link the articles to menu items. So it's kind of like connecting the dots. The first dot is the category, and then the article, and then the menu item. And really, once you get this process down, understanding how Joomla works becomes a lot easier as time goes on. In many areas of Joomla, you need a category first, and then for the contacts, for instance, if you want to add contacts to your site, you'll first create a category for your contacts, and then add in the people, and then link them to menu items. All right, so this is a structure that's kind of replicated throughout Joomla. Let's return to the back end and go ahead and start creating our categories. Let's go back to our control panel. And we can go to the category manager here. And I really like this file folder icon that's used for the category manager because categories are like folders. They exist primarily in the back end of your site, and they help you stay organized. You can also go to Content and Category Manager here, same place. You'll notice by default you have one uncategorized category. That's because Joomla knows it needs at least one category to work correctly. And what you can do is start creating your own categories. Categories are really broad ways to organize content. There's a second way to organize content, which is tags, which is a new feature in Joomla in version 3. And we can talk about that. Let me know if you're interested in learning more about tags for articles. But categories are more broad, and we're going to go ahead and create a new category. Click on the New button. And whenever creating a category, an article, a menu item, or a module, you'll have to pay attention to these asterisks. That's the required information. We need a title for the category, but that's the only thing we need. So I'm going to title this one General Information. You can add a description if you'd like to, and you can make it a subcategory of something else. Again, you can add in tags. You can unpublish or publish and create access levels. This is some things we'll talk about a little bit today, but for right now, I'm going to select Save and Close in this category. And we're kicked back out to our Category Manager where we can see all of our categories. Let's go ahead and open it again. And then I'm going to select Save and New. Well, if I click Save, of course, it stays open, but my category is saved. Let's go ahead and click Save and New. It saves the old category, but opens up a new category for me to create. So let's go ahead and just create one for the Art Gallery Tours. Save and New. We'll do the Art Gallery Vlog. Save and New. And Let's just do one for art classes and save and close. So now we have our 5 categories in the site. We may or may not use all these today. We'll just see how things go. But the next step, of course, remember, is to create an article. So let's return to the front end actually and refresh the page. Notice how nothing changes. It's because those categories exist in the back end only. They're organizational tools. You can get the category to appear on the front end if you'd like to through a different types of menu items, but again, primarily in the back end. And how many categories do you need in your site is really up to how much content you want. If you're only going to have a few articles, you may only want one category, but if you have a lot of content, it is definitely worth it to set up this structure early on in your development process, because doing an article search quickly and effectively in the future really can be assisted by having really appropriately named categories and just being well organized from the start. So let's go ahead and go back to our article or our control panel. We're going to start creating those articles now. We'll go to the article manager here, or content article manager. Now, here's the getting started article that comes default with our site. If we go back to our home page, that's this article. And instead of, we will erase it a little bit later, but let's go ahead and click on the new button to start our own article. And I'm going to add a title. Of course, pay attention to those asterisks. Let's do Welcome to the Art Gallery. This is going to be our new home page article. Now, instead of the uncategorized category, I'm going to save this into the general information category, and then I'm just going to put some keystrokes in here for now. And the reason why I do keystrokes right now is because let's say I want to change the size of this text, or the font of this text, or the color of this text. I can't do that using this editor. This is a very basic editor. It's called a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, and you don't get very much at all. You know, it's actually, the name of it is called the Tiny MCE, and it is tiny. There aren't many features, and I definitely suggest that you find something with more functions for your site. So let's go ahead and save and close this article for now. So here's the Welcome to the Art Gallery. Let's return and refresh so you know nothing changes until you actually do that last step, right? Till you connect the article to the menu item. But we're going to come back to this article in just a minute. Right now we're going to switch gears just a little bit. I'm going to show you how to install an extension into Joomla. We're going to go get a new editor. It's a free editor. It's an editor I recommend, and it's going to help us really format those articles really beautifully. And so let's go ahead and return to our control panel. Again, we're going to come back to the article in a minute, but for now we're going to go to Install Extensions, or we can come up here to Extensions and Extension Manager. Now, when you first open up your Extension Manager, you get the blue message here letting you know that the Joomla Extensions directory is now available through the Install from Web tab on this page. And if you click on this button, you're agreeing to the JED Terms of Service, which is an okay thing to do. You agree to the Terms of Service, and a new tab will appear here letting you install an extension directly through the back end of your Joomla site. Let's click on this Joomla Extensions directory link, and that's going to take us to extensions.joomla.org. This is the directory that has 8,500 extensions for both Joomla 3 and Joomla 2.5, and I actually am a member of the JED team here, the team that kind of monitors this site and make sure everything uploaded here is of good quality and things like that. But what you can do is browse the different categories off to the left side of your site. For instance, there's no calendar in Joomla, so you can click on calendars, and there's no shopping cart or payment gateway. So you might want to come to e-commerce if you're going to add that ability to purchase products to the site, or maps and weather. There's all sorts of stuff. If you want an image gallery, come to photos and images. And a lot of these are free, and a lot of them are commercial. And typically when you purchase something, you also purchase support, which can be helpful, especially if it's complex. But usually you can find a free version of what you're looking for. It might not be as functional, but it's still, you know, you gotta watch your budget. There are different types of extensions too. There are modules that you just put in different positions. There are plugins that just are really small pieces of software. that you add to different areas of the site. There's a component. Components are a large piece of software that really dramatically change the site. Usually have modules and menu items that come with them as well. So we're going to return to the back end though, because if we click on this tab or that button, we're actually going to get this abbreviated view of the extensions directory right in the back end of our Joomla site, which is really convenient. Okay, so no longer do you have to leave the Joomla site to get the extensions. Cunina is the first thing that shows up here. This is a commenting component, and it has modules and plugins available. And JCE is a component, has a plugin. This is actually the editor we're going to install today. And then we have all videos here. It's just a plugin. Okay, there are many available. Of course, you want to search around and find what you need, but we're going to go to JCE here. We're going to install this in our site. We get a few pieces of information about it right now, but let's go ahead and install. And install again. It's going to grab the zip file, and it's really just a few clicks, and then installation is done. Okay, there's a couple links here to help you learn about the JCE editor, but we need to actually change this in our site. We need to make sure that this is a global setting so we can use this. So let's go back to our control panel, and this time we're going to go to our global configuration area. And that global configuration area is right here under configuration. We can also get there through system and global configuration. And a couple things we're going to want to change here, like number one, our site title, your Joomla site hosted with CloudAccess.net. We can that appears here, and of course that appears in our tab up at the top of the page, so that's important to change. Let's go ahead and change that right now to Art Gallery. But then the sixth or seventh option down here is Default Editor. Again, right now we're set to Tiny MCE, but let's go ahead and select JCE from that list. And select it. Joomla already recognizes it, and we'll select Save and Close. So number one, notice how our site title changed, Art Gallery, and it's changed in our tab too at the top of the page. But now let's go back to our articles. Let's go back to our articles. We'll open up Welcome to the Art Gallery, and that was a lot of work, but look at how many more options we have for formatting our text. Okay, and it is really important that, I mean, obviously I'm not doing a great job of it right now, but it is really important that you format articles so they look nice online. But also you can do little things while you create content so people will find you on the internet. And of course this is called SEO, or search engine optimization, and those steps are really important as well. So let's go steal some text. I'm going to go to Lorem Ipsum. Excuse me, Lorem Ipsum is just filler text. It fills up spaces. I'm going to go copy a paragraph here. Control copy. Remember, though, notice how we have a bold title here, and then we have our block text formatting. This is, this is formatting that's not necessarily ready for the web, and it's important because we also have a font here, but the tendency for a lot of users is to write an article in Microsoft Word or some other type of word processor, and then they copy and paste that article into Joomla. But they format the article in Word, but that formatting, that's not meant for the web. So best practice is to copy that content and then click on this little button within the JCE to paste as plain text. Okay, this little window will open up. You paste your text in here. Paste your text in here, and this gives you, what you do is you click Insert, and then it's going to erase all the formatting that you have in the article. So notice there's no more bold title, no more block text. Okay, this is clean text for us to work with, and we've actually seen people crash entire websites by pasting in highly formatted text. But again, best practice to use your editor to format. So let's highlight this title. I'm going to make this a heading 2. And you can do a lot. The heading 2 is really important. Let's show you how to access the HTML version of the article. You can click on this little button, Source Code Editor, and that's going to give you the HTML. And you don't need to know HTML in order to create content within your Joomla site. But notice this little H2 tag. That's the heading 2 that we just applied. And the reason why we do that is because search engines index H2 content. So what they have is they have these little crawlers crawl through a website, and anything with a H2 tag around it, they'll index. And that's just one little trick to help people start finding you on the internet. It's also cool, like in this area, I can embed a YouTube video, for instance, and it's just helpful to know how to access that HTML. Let's talk about a really popular question is how do I get an image embedded into the article? I'm gonna float my image off to the left side here of my text. I'll put my cursor off to the left side. I'll click on this little picture frame button. And this is going to take me to an abbreviated view of my media manager as well. And this is the same images we saw in our site before. Here's that logo file we uploaded a little while ago. And what I can do is I can browse my computer over here to upload an image. I'll browse my computer again, and I'm going to select this image here, and I'll upload. So what I've done is I basically just uploaded that to my media manager. I still need to select the file here so I get the preview and properties up above. So click on that file name. Notice I get the preview and properties that appear. And you can change dimensions here a little bit. Joomla is not an image editing software. I do suggest you get these images down to size before you get them into Joomla, but you do have the option here to edit images. Watch what happens in the preview area when I select left alignment here. The text jumps up and around the image. And I can also add in a margin. I'll type in 10, and that's for pixels. That will stay consistent on all sides. Let's go ahead and click Insert. So now I get my image. And yeah, we're saved this in general information. Let's go ahead and save and close now. So the article's written. The last step is the menu item, of course. So let's go ahead and go to our menus and menu manager. And of course, if you're at the control panel, you go to menu manager right here. So when you first launch your site, you have your main menu and your user menu. Let's come back to this user menu in just a little bit. Notice how this has 6 menu items on it, and the main menu only has 1. It only has our home page. So we'll come back to the user menu in just a minute, but let's go to our main menu. And we have our home page. Notice this is a single article menu item type. Instead of deleting this, let's just open it up. Home. And again, single article. Let's click on select for the menu item type. You have many choices for menu item types, okay? You can display articles, you can do blogs, you can list all your categories, or just a single article, which we're going to use. You can do contact forms, search fields, again, the user manager for the login and registration links, all sorts of different stuff. Again, we're just using single article. We're going to leave it like that today, but let's select which article we want it to point to. Not the getting started article, but welcome to the art gallery. And let's save and close. Return to the front end, refresh the page, and finally we get our content starting to appear. Okay, so we have our welcome to the art gallery article, and everything looks pretty good. We're going to create more menu items in just a little bit, but let's add some of those modules back to the site. Let's put in some. Let's look at our module map. I want to put a nice big marketing banner for my art gallery site into this banner location. So I'll first create a banner for the site. Returning to the back end, let's go back to the control panel. We want to, again, return to the module manager, which we were already at today. We'll go to the module manager here, of course, go to module manager here. And remember, we were here, we deleted all those modules. We're going to create a new module. And this time, we need to select the actual module we want to create. There's, again, all types of things you can create. The banner, this is confusing. The banner module is not the one we want to create. This is for advertisements, essentially. We want to do a custom HTML, and in fact, many times when you want to create a module, you'll create a custom HTML, and the custom HTML is the only way to customize text and images that show up in your site. Okay, so let's go to custom HTML. That's the type we're going to create. Let's go ahead and create a title for this. Call this Art Gallery Banner. Next, we need to select a position. Right now, there's no position to assign. So let's find our template. We're not using Bees 3. So we're going to scroll down. We are using Protostar, and so we're going to select the banner position. And then just as I did before, I can use my editor, my JCE editor, to upload my image. I'll browse my computer and select my banner. Upload. So I've uploaded it. Make sure you select it so your properties and preview are complete, and insert. There's my banner. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's return and refresh. And we get a nice big banner. I don't like the title though. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Hide title. Save. Return and refresh. And the title's now gone. That's a nice big banner though, showing off who we are and what we do. Let's add a side menu to the site. And actually, remember in our menu manager, let's save and close this module, but remember how we had that user menu? We had that second menu that was added to the site. Let's go ahead and create a side menu for our user menu that's already been pre-created for us. So we'll click on the New button. This will be a menu module. Let's title this our user menu. Which position do we want this in? Let's take a look at our module map. Let's go ahead and put it in position 7. Scroll down to Protostar. Right position 7. And save. Let's return and refresh. We get our user menu. Oh, you know what I did? I made this our main menu. Right here, there's a setting for which menu we want to display, and it's displaying our main menu. But we can change this to that user menu and save. Let's return and refresh. Now we'll see. Oh, what happened? I think that user menu has a different access level. So let's save and close this. Let's go back to our menus. Access levels control who can see our menu items. So let's open up our user menu, and yeah, notice here how registered and special and super users can only see some of these menu items. Like your profile, submit an article, these are all great options, but we're missing like the registration form. We're missing the login form, things that you're going to want on a basic user menu. So let's actually leave your profile. Let's leave submit an article. Let's delete a few of these. Site administrator, template settings, site settings. I'm going to trash those menu items, and this will be permanent. We're permanently removing those. We're going to leave these. Let's go ahead and add a new menu item. Let's go ahead and title this one Create an Account. Select the menu item type. We'll go down to User Manager, and let's select Registration Form. This is a core registration form, and it's going to be on our user menu, and save and close. And what's cool about these is I can actually drag and drop and change the structure of my menu. So I want create an account to be first. Let's go ahead and do a new menu item as well. Access your account. Select the menu item type. Go down to User Manager. Let's select the login form. Notice too on both of these I'm not changing my access level. These are both set to public, okay, which is what we want. It really is for these two types. So that's the login form. Let's save and close. I'm going to drag and drop this one up as well. So now we have create an account, access your account, your profile set to registered, and then submitted articles set to special. Let's go ahead and leave those set with those access levels. And now if we return to the front end and refresh the page, our module will reappear and we get those two options. okay, because they're set to public, and I'm a public user. You can also get this functionality through a module in the backend. I do want to show you that login module, so let's go to the module manager, and let's go click on the new button, and I want to do my login module. Let's call this account information. Which position should we put this in? We already have something on the right, so let's go ahead and put this in position 8, and then we'll see our content shrink down into this one sort of static area in the middle. So select my position, scroll down to Protostar, select position, left position 8. And you do have some options here, pre-text and post-text and logged in, redirection pages, and all sorts of cool stuff to learn about, but we're just going to leave our default settings for now. Refresh the page, and here's my login module. So a lot of these options that are available in the menu we created are also available here. You can create an account. Now let's talk about the user manager more in a little bit. We'll add a user to the site. We'll show you how to give them access to different areas. Okay, but for now, let's create a different menu item type. I'm going to create a few additional articles, and at this point I want you folks to feel comfortable. We're just about at 1 hour, so if you want to start typing in those questions, let me know what else you want to know, and I can kind of tailor the rest of the webinar towards what it is you want to accomplish. Of course, that really is the goal, for you to do some learning, but for now what we're going to do, let's set up a blog first. Let's write a blog. Let's go to our articles, Content Article Manager, click on the new button, and meet our featured artist. Which category do I want to save this in? I'm going to save it in the art category blog, and this is really important because you need all of your blogs saved into the same category to have your blogs appear on the front end. Let's go ahead and paste as plain text again. Change my heading one more time. Insert another image. And browse my computer. Let's just select this image. This time we'll do right alignment with the margin of 10 and insert. Alright, let's do save and new. We're going to do 3 blogs here quickly. Let's do free art gallery tours on Tuesdays. Put this in the blog as well. Paste in our plain text. Create a heading. Let's upload another image. Browse my computer. Notice here too how I can select multiple images to upload several images at once. And upload. Let's go ahead and just put in one of these images off to the right side with the margin and insert. Okay, so now we have 2 blogs written. I think you get the point. We're going to feature multiple articles on one page. All right, so let's return to our menus. Let's go ahead and create, go to our main menu. Let's add a new menu item here. Let's go ahead and title this one blog. Menu item type. This is going to be underneath articles. It's going to be a category blog. Again, pulls multiple articles from one category. And you can do a multi-column layout. So let's go ahead and save and close this option. We might want to keep it open to refer back to it. Let's refresh. And notice we get a different option in our main menu. Click on blog. And here's our, I knew I messed up. Let's open up blog again. We need to select our category. Really important. Right now we're pulling from the uncategorized category. I want to select my art gallery blog category and save it this time. Let's return to refresh, and now we get the blogs that we created. And you know, we're going to leave these details on this menu item because a lot of people like this in their blogs. Okay, we do want to change our layout though. I'm going to show you how to remove these details a little bit later on if you guys don't have other questions that take us elsewhere. But let's go to blog layout, and we're using our default settings. We're pulling from our global settings, which is what I'm going to show you in just a moment. But we can overwrite those global settings here. And I want, let's do 0 leading, let's do 2, 1 column. Let's go ahead and save that. You just have to play around with these settings to get the sort of exact layout that you're looking for, but this looks a little bit better for our blog page. Again, people like these details in their blogs, so we're going to go ahead and leave them. But let's go ahead and create a new landing page for like art classes, for instance. Let's do this a little bit differently. We can also feature articles. So let's go back to our article manager. Let's just create a few new articles for art classes. And we'll do this one, drawing class, oops, paste as plain text, insert, and heading 2. I'm really tempted to put my images in there. I think I will, just because it's fun. We'll do left alignment with the margin. Save, oh, make sure it's in the right category. Art classes, save and close. Let's do new, and let's do sculpting class, paste as plain text with a heading, and inserted image, sculpting, and save a new one more. We'll call this one drama class. Kind of repeat this process, and I think it's helpful for some of our users. They see that repeated over a few times, helps them to remember the steps. We'll insert that image, and here we go. All right, so make sure this is saved into our art classes category as well. Now, it's not really necessary that we save all of those into the same category, because we're going to set up a slightly different menu item type, and that's a featured article menu item type. Notice the green star, of course, or the green check mark means those articles are published, but we're also going to click on the star, meaning that each of these is a featured article. And just for good measure, let's go ahead and add in our meet our featured artist as well. And just to kind of point out how this next menu item will pull from multiple categories. So we have art classes and then art gallery blog. So let's go back to our main menu. We're going to add a new menu item type, and let's call this one art classes. Select the menu item type here. Under articles again, this will be a featured articles, and let's save. Return to the front end, refresh the page, art classes. Will take us to our list. Now notice we have all 4 of our featured articles, but something's happening on this page that I don't necessarily like. Number 1, it's the layout, and it's my modules. And we should have addressed this before with our blog page. We don't want these modules on all of these pages. So how do I customize that? Well, let's save and close that, and let's go to our module manager. Let's open up our art gallery banner, and we'll go to menu assignment, and right now this is on all pages, so I'll select only the pages selected. Select none. I really only want this on my home page. Okay, and we'll save and close. Let's return and refresh, and now it's gone from this page. I also want my account information and my user menu not to be on this page either. Okay, so let's go to our user menu, menu assignment, only on the pages selected, and none. We'll only put that on the home page for now, and save and close. And then our account information, same thing. Menu assignment, only on the pages selected, none, and only on the home page. Save and close. Okay, let's return and refresh, and now our blog looks a little bit better. In fact, I might want to return some of those modules to this page, but if we go to our art classes, this looks a little bit better. I want to change my layout, though, of this page, and this time let's do this in the global settings. Okay, so let's return, and we're going to go to our content and our article manager. This is in the article manager. This is where we set our global settings. You can override these again if you go to your menu item, but what I want to do is I want to go to this options button up in the article manager. And notice all these details here. Now, I like this stuff in my blog, but I don't want this stuff in my art classes. Okay, so here I'm going to show my title, I'm going to show my intro text, but I'm going to say no or hide to just about everything else. I'm going to hide the author. I'll leave the read more button and the read more text, but I'm going to hide all of this other stuff. Okay, and let's go ahead and save. Let's return to the front end, refresh the page, and all that content's now gone. And let's say we want to go ahead and have, we want 4 blocks for our classes. So we'll go to blog and layouts, and leading article, let's do 0. Intro articles 4 in 2 columns, and that should work. That should be the setting we're after. Let's return. Yep, so we have 4 blocks for all 4 of our classes. And the featured artist one, that's just like a class, I suppose. But yeah, so pretty neat. If we go back to our blog, though, notice how our details were erased from our blog, too. That's because that's the global setting in the article manager. Let's save and close this, and let's return back to our menu item. We'll show you how to override that. Go to our main menu, and then you go to the blog option. We'll go to Options tab. We were at Blog Layout before, but we'll go to Options. Show title. What do we want to show? Well, I want to show my author. Show. And let's show our publish date. Let's show voting for our blog. And let's show hits for just this menu item. And now we can return and refresh. That content reappears in my blog, but it's not on my art classes page. Okay, so that's a featured article menu item type. Let's talk about changing the structure of this just a little bit. Let's save and close. We want our art classes to appear before our blog. Let's just return, and then we can refresh, and they switch places. Okay, no other questions from you guys at this point. So let's do one thing here very quickly. Let's add a sub menu item to, we'll do a registration form underneath art classes, and this is on our main menu. Okay, so first I want to go to my module manager, and I want to open up my main menu. This is my module for the main menu, of course. And I want to make sure I'm showing sub menu items. That means drop down, and save and close. And then I want to go back to my menus and go to my main menu. We're going to add a new menu item. Click on the new button. We'll call this one Register. Select the menu item type. Go to the User Manager. Select Registration Form. This is going to be a public access, and right now I want to go to Parent Item. Right now it's a root item on my main menu, but I'm going to select Art Classes as the parent item. Let's go ahead and save this registration form. Notice how register is now a drop down under art classes. It's indented, which means it's a sub-menu item. Let's return to the front end and refresh. Go to art classes, and here's our core Joomla registration form. And what we're going to do is we're going to register for an account. And of course we can also use the side menu we created or the login form. So click on create an account. It's the same registration form. Let's go ahead and add in our name. I'll create a user for John. Give John a username and a password. We'll give John a fake email address. And then click on register. John's going to receive this yellow message letting him know an account has been created and an activation link has been sent to his email. He actually needs to activate his own account. And you can really kind of tailor this process to suit your needs. Let's go to the back end, and we'll go to users and user manager. Show you what I mean a little bit. Now, I'm the person who created the account. I'm the super user. Okay, so here's me, here's my email address. You'll also see a user for the Cloud Control panel. That's because we clicked on the one-click login link from the CloudAccess.net Cloud Control panel. So those are two separate users really for one person. And then we have John. John is the person who registered for the site just now. And John hasn't enabled or activated his email or his account yet, so let's pretend he's enabled. Ultimately, though, it's up to me to activate him as the super user for the site. So I'm going to go ahead and activate him as a user, but just so you know, you can click on the options within the user manager. And what you can do is set this new user account activation to self. You can set this to none if you want them to automatically create an account, or you can set it to admin, which means the administrator has to approve the account. You can also set them to a new group once they register. I'm going to just leave them in the registration group now, but here, just know that there's a lot of options for editing this system here. And the reason why people go with Joomla over WordPress a lot is because of this user manager. It's really robust, and you can have users in all different types of groups in the site. And so we have John in the registered group. So let's go ahead and go to the front end, and let's log in as John. And the only change we're going to see is we're going to notice a third menu item here. And remember, because that was set to registered. Let's go ahead and log in. Notice here's your profile, and John can update his profile if he likes. Let's go ahead and return to the back end, and let's go to open up John as the user. And here's John's information. We can update his password and things, but let's go to assigned user groups. Let's go ahead and put John into a different group. Let's go ahead and make John a publisher. Okay, and then save and close. So John's a registered user and a publisher. Let's go ahead and return to our menus. This is on our user menu. Submit an article. Let's change the access to this to publisher. So we'll change access here from special to, oh, I missed a step. User manager again. Let's go open up our user groups, and we'll go to publisher. Let's open it up, and we just want to make sure that the publisher has the special, it's actually viewing access levels. So here's our special access level. And we want to put our publisher group into the access level. Okay, so now if we return to our home page and refresh the page, we've added that access level to this menu item, and so this should appear here. Let me just log out and log back in as John. Yeah, submit an article. So since we changed our access level, John now has the ability to write write an article directly from the front end of the site because we've given him that permission. And that's the access levels in Joomla. It's very comprehensive, and there's some learning to be done if you want to learn more and really get those tiered levels of access, but hopefully that gets you started with what you want to know. Again, no questions at this point. Nobody has posted a question at all yet. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. We're about an hour and 15 minutes into today's webinar, and no questions so far. So yeah, please post those in. I'd love to be able to help you. Remember, there's lots of resources available in the Joomla community. If you go to joomla.org, tons of great content. Come to community and support. You can get to Joomla forums, get to Joomla documentation, and you can also go to Joomla events. There are Joomla events around the world. You can meet your local user group. And the featured event this month, of course, is the Joomla World Conference, which will be going on in Cancun, Mexico in just about 2 weeks. And if you're going to be anywhere near Cancun, Mexico on November 7th through 9th, stop by and say hi. I'm going to be able to be there and be working with the Joomla community again. It's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. We are a sponsor of this event, which is pretty cool, at CloudAccess.net, proud sponsor of the Joomla World Conference. But yeah, lots of great resources for you at events.joomla.org. Of course, you can always come to our site and stay tuned to our upcoming webinar events. If you like to, here's today's webinar. We're going to do another Learn the Basics in about 2 to 3 weeks here as well. So Rick posted a question with latest news. Getting ahead of ourselves. Those can link to an article page with an anchor to that headline and then link to an article with the entire news story. Yeah, I think you're talking about the latest news module, I think. And so, yeah, if you go to the module manager, let's go ahead and do latest news. We'll do a latest news module. Title this one latest news. We'll just pull from all categories, 5 recent articles from all categories. Let's select a position for this. We'll just do left position 8 again. And save. Let's return our home page. We've got a lot of our content in the site, so yeah. So this basically contains a link, Rick, to that individual article. That's what a latest news module does. Rick wrote, yes, if we have latest news, you can set it so each news item in the module will hyperlink to a news summary page. Correct. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Rick, let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Sean posted a question. How would you set a slider banner with text, assuming it require an extension install? Slider banner, yeah, like a slide set right here. I can show you how to do this. It's relatively easy with a cool extension that's available that is free. So let's show you how to install an image rotator. This is a really popular request. People love moving parts and pieces in their sites. Let's go to Extension and Extension Manager. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for an extension called Slideshow CK. Go to Slideshow. Slideshow CK is really cool. It's a module. It is free. It's very popular, easy to use. Let's go ahead and select it. And instead of being able to install directly through the backend, we actually have to go download this from the developers page. So this is going to take us to an external website, which is Joomla CK. Looks like it's going to be a French company. I know their stuff is really good, though. We want to make sure we're downloading the right version. So this is Joomla 3, so we'll download this. And this is going to be a zip file. Notice down here, .zip. If you're going to upload an extension manually, make sure it's .zip. And I'll save it. Once I do that, I'm going to return to the back end of my Joomla site. And then I'm going to go to Upload Package File right here. Choose that file from my computer, go to my Downloads folder. Oops, where did that save? Let's go back here. Download. Where did I save that? I'll put in my documents. I'm going to go to put in my downloads folder and save. And now, make sure you know where you're saving your files, of course, people. Let's go to my downloads. Here's that zip file. Select it and upload and install. So that's installing. Let's go ahead and return to their site quickly here, though. You should be able to demo this somewhere. Click on Slideshow CK. Oh, it's not giving me a demo on this page. It should. That's okay, though. Soon enough, we'll see it live. Let's go ahead and return. Remember, that was a module. We go, well, we can go look for that again. This is a module, so that's going to be in our module manager. If I install a plugin, it will appear in our plugin manager. And then if I install a component, it will appear here under components. And here's that JCE we installed. So let's go back to the module manager. And we'll notice Slideshow CK appear here. By default, it's unpublished. It's assigned to no pages and no positions. So let's go ahead and open it up. Slideshow CK. I'm going to assign it to a position, the banner position. Let's go ahead and publish it. And go to menu assignment. Right now it's on no pages. We'll do only the pages selected and do just our home page. Let's save it again. Let's return to the front end of our site and refresh. And here's our slide set, okay, with our text overlay, which is really nice. Number one, I want to, of course, get my own images in here, and then I want to erase this banner and just have this banner here. Let's go ahead and return to the back end, and what we can do is go to Slides Manager, and we have 3 images in there that we don't want. So I'm going to select an image and go select my banner and insert. Let's change the caption. Just do welcome to the art gallery. And then I'm going to select a new image. Oh, this is weird. This is kind of buggy. Kind of buggy. Someone should reach out to Slideshow CK and let them know their stuff's kind of buggy. But I'm just going to grab a few more images here. Start the upload. And here's my second banner. Insert. Let's retitle this one. Let's say Daily and then we'll do one more. Notice this is a video actually, and you can do a video in these too, which is cool. But we want to choose a file. And select and insert, and let's go ahead and create a description. And let's go ahead and save. And now, since we replaced those slides, we can return and refresh, and we get our slides, but the dimensions are screwy. So I'm going to definitely want to change that, and I want to turn the title off, and I want to turn off my original banner. So let's go ahead to Styles Options, and this way I can change my dimensions. And auto, 62%. We can leave width as auto, but let's change height. I believe those images are 200 pixels. Let's go ahead and save this. Return now and refresh. Yep, that looks a little bit better. Oh, I think it was more like 250. Must have been more like 250. So let's go ahead and just change that quickly here since we're already there. 250. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to the module. I want to hide the title. Save and close. And then I want to return and just unpublish this original banner. Return and refresh. and then our banner is replaced with this nice image rotator with the text that overlays, and you can remove these thumbnails and change the transition type and things like that, but that's really kind of cool. So Rick, I hope that, or Sean, I hope that it helps to answer your question, get some moving parts and pieces in the site. I think that's what you were asking for. So no other questions at this point. Again, this webinar is actually going to be our default webinar that we're sending to everybody to learn. Oops, my slide is still active there. I wonder why. I'm going to open that back up. I think I'm linking to a file somewhere. Really strange. Oh, I don't want this to be a video. Huh. Yeah, it's linking to a video somehow. I don't like that. Is it this one? Let's go ahead and delete that. Yes. Add a new slide. Let's just go ahead and add that one back. Sean says, yes, thank you. You're very welcome. Remember, that's called the slideshow CK. Hopefully this worked. Get rid of that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, the site looks okay that we developed today. What I was saying is this webinar is actually going to be the default webinar that we're sending to all of our new users for the next month, about 1 month at a time. So if you come to recorded webinars here, and you come to recorded Joomla webinars, and then you go to beginner Joomla webinars, learn the basics of Joomla 3. This webinar is going to replace this video on this page. So that's pretty cool. But if you want to, go to our YouTube channel. We have over 10,000 subscribers as of last week, 10,021 subscribers. Subscribe here and you'll receive a message every time a new tutorial becomes available. We'd love to add you to the subscription list. And again, if you want to learn even more, come down here to the Joomla 3 Getting Started tutorials. These 16 tutorials, it's essentially everything that we discussed in this webinar. Okay, or again, this webinar will appear here later today. It'll be this one, Learn the Basics of Joomla 3. So, yeah. I think that's it, other than please feel free to come back to any of our webinars in the future. Again, we're going to host this one in another month when we get some more updates, including that Cloud-based 3.0 template. But scrolling down, on Wednesday of this week, we have a Learn the Basics of WordPress webinar, which is really cool. And if you want to kind of compare and contrast what's possible in Joomla 3 compared to what's possible in WordPress, feel free to attend that one as well. And then on Friday of this week, we have an open forum where you can come back and ask questions. So if today was your first experience with Joomla, go ahead and develop the site, and then come back and share your work with me, and then ask more questions. I can bring you live into the webinar, and yeah, hopefully you can do some learning. So yeah, very cool. Thanks for attending, everybody. Good luck developing your Joomla site. We hope to see you in a webinar really soon. Take care.